The remnants of the Uchiha are forced to save the ninja world. Chapter 1, Second Survivor. Chapter 1, Second Survivor. Who? Lin Jun opened his eyes suddenly, and exhaled a foul breath from his throat. Where is this? As soon as the thought came to him, he was filled with fear. Because he found that he couldn't move, he couldn't even move his fingers except breathing hard, as if he was a corpse. Then, a voice without emotional fluctuations came from beside my ear. Return mission, Dawn. You can return after completing the return task. Lin Jun was stunned. The content in the voice made him puzzled. Return mission. Dawn. What are they all? Just then, the sound of footsteps approaching. Come and save me. Lin Jun wanted to call for help, but found that there was no sound in his throat. And his eyes were covered by a white cloth, or in other words, when he was lying flat, his whole body was covered by a white cloth. The kind that completely covers the head. Huh. There was a slight hum from the direction of the footsteps. Soon a figure appeared in front of Lin Jun, and he lifted off the white cloth covering Lin Jun. Lin Jun, who thought he was rescued, heaved a sigh of relief, then looked at the figure who had lifted the white cloth, and his thoughts froze all of a sudden. Kakashi. Silver broom head, black mask. Lin really won't admit his mistake. The one who lifted the white cloth for him was none other than an anime character he was familiar with, Hatake Kakashi. At this time, Kakashi, who looked at Lin Jun, shouted, "Medical class, there is another survivor here." Immediately there was a burst of noisy footsteps in the distance, and then several personnel in medical uniforms surrounded Lin Jun. How is it possible? I checked, and he obviously has no vital signs. Maybe it was in a state of suspended animation before. This situation is rare. While communicating in low voices, the medical staff helped Lin Jun up and checked his body. As the body sat up, Lin Jun's vision finally widened a bit. What caught his eyes was a huge morgue. There are hundreds of funeral beds neatly arranged in the room, without exception, each of which has a corpse covered with a white cloth. Many medical staff are busy. Some even have a glass jar with a pair of eyeballs on hand. Because the body was still in a state of unconsciousness, although Lin Junshin was terrified, there was no expression on his face, even his eyes were cloudy. Seeing Lin Jun's dull face, Kakashi dressed in umbu asked the medical ninja who was examining Lin Jun's body, "How is he?" "Vital signs tend to be stable, but the spirit seems to be." Saying that, the medical ninja shook his head and sighed. Kakashi looked at Lin Jun with a complicated expression, and told the medical ninja beside him, "You send him to the hospital for treatment, and I will report to Master Hokage." Hospital. Lying on the hospital bed, Lin Jun still looked dull. However, he could feel that his body was gradually recovering, and his fingers that could vibrate slightly were the best proof. At the same time, scenes of messy images were flashing in his mind. Shinji Uchiha. Based on the messy revolving pictures in his mind and the scene in the morgue just now, he slowly figured out his current situation. He seems to have transmigrated into the body of an 8-year-old boy named Uchiha Shinji. The time was exactly the night when the Uchiha clan was extinct. It's just that he didn't understand how he had traveled to the world of Naruto after a good night's sleep, and he still traveled to a corpse in the morgue. There is no doubt that the real Uchiha Shinji is dead, and died by Uchiha Itachi's sword. What was that voice before? When he woke up in the morgue, the strange voice in his ear also made him particularly concerned. In short, he's out of his mind right now. The confusion caused by absorbing Shinji Uchiha's residual memory, the shock caused by accidental time travel, the confusion about the future, the fear of the unknown, etc., were all filled with emotions, making it impossible for him to calm down and sort out everything. Hiss. Suddenly, he gasped. Just now he absorbed the last memory picture of Uchiha Shinji before his death. That was the moment Uchiha Itachi swung his sword. Perhaps because of fear, the picture in Uchiha Shinji's memory has been completely deformed, and everything else in the picture is blurred and distorted. Only Uchiha Itachi's pair of cold, scarlet Sharingans are extremely clear when he swings the knife. This feels like a real stab. Lin Jun's back was covered with cold sweat. Only part of the memory fragments of Shinji Uchiha were fused, and he inevitably suffered a huge mental shock. Before he could recover, he found that his vision suddenly became blurred. The ink-colored eyes were instantly dyed red, and then one after another Goyu appeared, showing the 3 Goyu Sharingan. It's not over yet. Then 3 Goyu swirled, and the ink dots melted in the scarlet eyes, transforming into 3 regularly intertwined ink circles in the shape of Qingpin. After finishing all this, the ink circle dissipated and the scarlet faded. The pupils in his eye sockets returned to the ordinary black color again, and the moment just now seemed to be just an illusory bubble. Kaleidoscopic Sharingan. Lin was really surprised. Although the change in eyes was short-lived just now, he knew that it was not an illusion. He had indeed opened the kaleidoscope Sharingan rumored by the Uchiha clan. Sharingan was opened by Shinji Uchiha's intense emotions before his death. It's just that he died too fast, and Sharingan was extinguished with his life after awakening to the state of Sengoyu. After that, Lin Jin came across, and the new soul-stimulated Sharingan. The two relayed and completed the final kaleidoscope. Open. I didn't expect this guy to be a genius. After realizing this, Lin Jin was deeply moved. Unwillingness, hatred, love and other intense emotions can stimulate the Uchiha clan to open Sharingan, which he knows. But Shinji Uchiha was able to complete the awakening of the Sengoyu in the short moment before his death, and even touched the part of the kaleidoscope, which surprised him. You must know that the last person who could achieve this level was the Uchiha Obito, who single-handedly set off the Fourth Ninja World War. Under Uchiha Itachi's deliberate stimulation, Uchiha Sasuke, who had been in Tsukuyomi and witnessed the death of his parents, only opened the single Goyu Sharingan. So Uchiha Shinji, who did not leave any deeds in the original time and space, is actually a rare member of the Uchiha clan who has the potential to open the kaleidoscope Sharingan. Am I going to be Shinji Uchiha from now on? Lin was really disappointed. He took over Shinji Uchiha's body and memory, and I'm afraid he can only live as Shinji Uchiha in the future. The plane has been invaded. Countdown, 9. Suddenly, the mysterious voice sounded in his ear again. New book upload, please support. End of this chapter. The remnants of the Uchiha are forced to save the ninja world. Chapter 2, Countdown. Chapter 2 Countdown. Invasion. Lin Zhen, or Uchiha Shinji, looked confused at the moment. He is now covered in bandages, lying on the bed with a dispirited expression, unable to even get out of bed, when a voice suddenly tells him that the plane has been invaded. Also gave a countdown. Waited for a long time, but there was no further text. Shinji shouted in his heart, "Hey, what is the invasion? You should explain it clearly." Still no response. It seemed that everything just now was just an auditory hallucination. He was very speechless, yet helpless. Right now he was struggling to even move. In the next few days, Shinji spent in a daze. This is mainly because he was injured too badly. The knife wound left by Uchiha Itachi on his chest, the bone can be seen deep, severely damaged his lungs and organs. Even with medical ninjutsu treatment, it will take time to recover slowly. And that mysterious voice would suddenly ring in his ears every day, reminding the countdown to decrease. This made him realize that the mysterious voice is not an auditory hallucination, but a real existence. No doubt. With this result, he was even more depressed. With several days of fermentation, the impact of the extermination of the Uchiha clan, the #1 wealthy family in Konoha, gradually emerged. Shinji's most personal feeling is that everyone looks sympathetic to him when they see him. Actually, the vast majority of people in Konoha village have no deep hatred for the Uchiha clan. Everyone is more disgusted with the arrogance and domineering of the Uchiha clan, and is afraid of the daunting Sharingan of the Uchiha clan. After Uchiha was exterminated, these daily conflicts disappeared. It was replaced by sighs and sympathy. After all, Uchiha fought several ninja world wars for Konoha and paid a lot of sacrifices. Shinji tried to adapt to all this while receiving treatment. At first, he was very panicked, worried that his identity as a time traveler would be exposed, and worried that someone would wipe out the roots and wipe out him, the remnant of Uchiha. But a few days passed, and the situation was calm for the time being. At least in the hospital, everyone showed sympathy and kindness to him. Snapped. Shinji fell heavily to the ground. The nurse quickly stepped forward to help him up, with a concerned look on his face. "You are too anxious, you should rest for a few more days and try again." Enduring the pain, Shinji said, "The doctor said that my injury has almost recovered, and I can try to move my body." The nurse still wants to persuade, but I can do it. Shinji refused the nurse's support. He took a deep breath and took another step. Although every step was extremely strenuous, he still gritted his teeth and persisted. Whether it's the weird countdown, or the remnants of Uchiha who survived the night of genocide, he is not qualified to enjoy leisure. Snapped. Fell down again. Climb up again. Again and again. Even the nurse next to her couldn't help turning her head aside. After an afternoon of exercise, Shinji can finally walk. The nurse didn't expect him to persevere, and couldn't help feeling, "It's incredible." Shinji said, "I want to go to the bathroom." The nurse smiled, "I'll help you go." "Need not." Shinji declined. Came to the bathroom alone. After confirming that there was no one there, he walked to a single room in the corner, closed the door, sat on the toilet, and then lowered his head and put his hands on his forehead, covering his eyes. Kaleidoscopic Sharingan, open. As he thought about it, the pupils in his eye sockets changed instantly. Scarlet strikes, ink circle appears. Instantly. His vision became extremely clear, and the lines on the left hand that covered his eyes were clearly visible. Is this the kaleidoscope Sharingan? He was surprised and delighted at the moment. A few days ago, in order to avoid the exposure of the kaleidoscope Sharingan, he was lying on the hospital bed with limited mobility, and kept suppressing the urge to open the kaleidoscope Sharingan. Now that he finally found a chance to confirm it, he made up his mind. On the way back to the ward, he saw another survivor of the same family, Sasuke Uchiha. It's just that the guy has been in a coma because of the middle school reading, and it seems that it is difficult to wake up in a short time. In the next few days, Shinji has been working hard to recover his body. At first, I could barely walk. Under his unremitting efforts, slowly, he can trot and jump. And the mysterious voice that rang in his ears every day added an inexplicable urgency to his already busy hospital life. Although he still doesn't know what the so-called invasion refers to. But you can't go wrong if you prepare as much as possible. 1 week after admission. The doctor checked Shinji's body and was amazed. "The speed of your body recovery is much faster than we expected." Shinji replied, "Thank you." The doctor shook his head, "Our medical ninjutsu can only heal wounds. Your physical recovery is the result of your hard work these days." Shinji clenched his fist and felt the strength. His hard work during this time seems to have not been in vain. With the treatment of medical ninjutsu, his body has basically recovered now. After a few words of advice, the doctor left the ward. And just as the doctor left, another figure walked in, and asked Shinji with a smile, "How do you feel today?" Shinji nodded with a dull expression, "It's much better." The one who asked him was a young man with light blue hair and a smile on his face. Youth is Shinji's ninja school teacher Mizuki. But Shinji knows that he has another identity, and that is the eyeliner placed by Orochimaru in Konoha. Mizuki looked Shinji up and down, and then said, "Your injury is almost healed, and you can be discharged from the hospital today." Shinji nodded. After completing the discharge procedures, Mizuki led Shinji to an apartment building. Opened an apartment on the 3rd floor, Mizuki handed the key to Shinji, "This will be your new home from now on." Shinji looked around and took the key silently. Mizuki handed Shinji another passbook, told him a few things about life, and then left with a smile. After closing the door carefully, the expression on Shinji's face became slightly richer. The passbook that Mizuki gave him was a pension issued by the village, which was more than 7 million yuan, which is not a small amount. After putting away the passbook, Shinji looked out the window. Although this apartment is small in size, it is located in the center of the village, only a few streets away from the ninja school, and the surrounding area is very prosperous. Obvious. Uchiha's large family land cannot be guarded by 2 children, Shinji and Sasuke, who is in a coma. So he was not surprised to be placed here by the village. As for the 7 million pension, I'm afraid it also includes compensation for the clan's land being confiscated by the village. I just think of the scene I saw in the morgue. The accumulation of the Uchiha clan for nearly 1,000 years, as well as the Sharingan of those dead Uchiha clansmen, may now fall into the hands of the village. Based on this calculation, the 7 million pension is not worth mentioning. Night. The streets of the village were lit up with rows of lanterns and strips of neon lights. The warm light seems to dispel the coldness of the night. In the apartment, Shinji quietly looked at the night view of Konoha village outside the window, but his mind was on the neighbor. The occasional noise from the next door made him a little suspicious, worried that someone was watching his every move next door. But he quickly dispelled his doubts. If someone was watching him next door, he wouldn't be able to make these noises for him to hear. I don't know who lives next door. After thinking secretly, he lay down on the bed, thinking about the future. Until now, he has not figured out why he crossed over. The return mission and invasion mentioned by the mysterious voice were even more confused. He tried many ways to call that mysterious voice, trying to communicate, but found nothing, as if it only existed in his imagination. He restrained his thoughts. No matter what, I have to work hard to survive. Right now he already has a pair of kaleidoscope Sharingan, at least until the Fourth Ninja World War, it can be regarded as a trump card. With the demise of Uchiha, there are actually not many enemies who still have malicious intentions towards him. In addition to Danzo who led the genocide, Orochimaru who coveted Sharingan, Itachi who killed him once, Obito who participated in the genocide, and other villages and organizations interested in Uchiha's blood boundary, etc., there is nothing. Well, there are still a lot of threats. So I'm staying in my village now, it's much safer than running around. This principle is easy to understand. He is now a survivor of the Uchiha genocide incident. As long as the third Hokage still has face, and Konoha still talks about the will of fire, no one will persecute him in the open. But he also knows that he is not protected by Itachi like Sasuke. If he does something too extreme, even if it is not convenient for Sandai to do it, Danzo will definitely not let go of the opportunity to trample him to death, the remnant of Uchiha. Just like the past few days, he can occasionally feel the hidden sight watching him. Hold on first. He secretly made up his mind. The plane has been invaded. Countdown, 2. Suddenly, the mysterious voice sounded in my ear again. His face sank. The countdown number has changed from 9 a week ago to 2 now, which undoubtedly means that a number is a day. Countdown 2 means that there are only 2 days left. The new book is uploaded, and support is urgently needed. Please take care of the newbies, recommend tickets, and monthly tickets to support and support. Thank you. End of this chapter. The remnants of the Uchiha are forced to save the ninja world. Chapter 3, People who shouldn't be there. Chapter 3, The person who should not appear. After getting up and washing, Shinji came to the ninja school early in the morning. As a result, as soon as he entered the classroom, he was stunned. There were dozens of people in the room, and he didn't know many people, but among the few familiar faces, there were 2 people who shouldn't be here. Suppressing his doubts, he sat down in his seat relying on the memory of the original owner. At this time, there were sympathetic and concerned eyes from all around. Obviously, the students knew about the tragedy that happened to the Uchiha clan. As the number 1 wealthy family in Konoha, Uchiha was wiped out overnight by the young patriarch. Only 2 children of the whole clan survived. It is conceivable how much sensation this brought to the village. Shinji, who has gradually become accustomed to this kind of gaze, remained silent. He glanced at the little red-haired girl sitting in the first row near the podium, and the black-haired boy in the front row. What the hell? He was confused. If he is not mistaken, the thin red-haired girl in the first row should be Keirin, who has Uzumaki clan blood, and the black-haired boy in the front row is very similar to Shiro from Kirigakure. How did the 2 of them end up in Konoha's ninja school? Shinji searched all the memory fragments left by the original owner, but did not find any information related to it. It seems that the original owner never cared about the 2 classmates, Xianglin and Bai. It can only be said that it is Uchiha. Then, he turned his head to look at the boy with white pupils sitting at the other end of the classroom. Neji Hinata. This is the only person the original owner cares about in his memory, and he is also regarded as a competitor by the original owner. In a blink of an eye, the morning class is over. As a proud Uchiha, the original owner had an average relationship with the classmates in the class, plus Shinji's indifferent expression on his face, so no one took the initiative to talk to him throughout the morning. Shinji was also happy to be free. He doesn't really want to get in touch with people right now, mainly because he is afraid of revealing his secrets. If you don't mind, let's eat together. Suddenly, a voice pulled Shinji back from his distracted thoughts. Shinji looked up and found that the boy who was suspected to be white sitting in the front row of him handed a food box in front of him. Seeing Shinji's puzzled face, the boy said, "Forget to bring your bento." It was only then that Shinji realized that he needed to bring his own bento for the lunch meal, but he didn't show it, and took advantage of the situation and asked tentatively, "Your name is?" The boy was not surprised or angry because Shinji did not remember himself, and introduced himself naturally, "My name is Shiro." It really is him. Shinji's heart trembled. The water in ninja school is a bit deep. At this stage, the curriculum of ninja school is very simple. Are all the basic knowledge that ninjas need to have, such as survival skills in the wild, methods of tracking enemy footprints, and identifying the effects of various herbs. Slightly deeper courses only explain the principles of human body refining chakra. As for the actual use of chakra to perform ninjutsu and illusion, it has not been involved yet. Physical aspects. Mainly practice gymnastic sparring among students, as well as ninja throwing practice. Just like this moment, the students after lunch came to the playground one after another, some chasing and frolicking, and some practicing with each other. Naruto, Shikamaru, Choji, Kiba. Shinji saw more familiar faces on the playground. However, Naruto is one grade lower than him, and the range of activities between them is also different, and there is no intersection between them. Shifted his gaze to his grade side. He found that Neji, who had a deep face, did not choose to practice with other people, but practiced the soft fist of the Hyuga clan alone in the corner against the wooden stake. After watching for a while, his face gradually became serious. Ningxi is about the same age as him now, only 8 years old, but his physical skills already look very powerful. According to the memory of the original owner was not Niji's opponent in physical skills, and he failed miserably in several sparring sessions. Not to mention him as a time traveler. Because he found that the children here in the ninja world are completely different from the world he lives in. The 7 or 8-year-old children here are agile in their movements, and their offensive and defensive transitions are smooth and natural. Martial Arts Master. This TM is 8 years old. He originally thought that he now had a pair of kaleidoscope Sharingan, enough to condescendingly look down on a group of ninja school kids. But after some observation, without using Sharingan, he found that he seemed to be unable to deal with the unnamed miscellaneous fish in the same period. Not to mention meeting a guy like Neji who has earned the title of genius. No, if the foundation is too poor, even with the kaleidoscope Sharingan, it is difficult to exert 100% of the power of the kaleidoscope. In the hands of different people, the power of blood succession boundary is also different. Besides, the kaleidoscope Sharingan is still a consumable item, and it cannot be squandered without restraint. At the same time, this also made him aware of a problem. That is, not counting kaleidoscope Sharingan, there is a big gap between his strength and the strength of the original owner. The orthodox Uchiha of the original owner is second only to Ningji in the grade, and he estimated that his current strength is in the grade. Mostly at the bottom. If this gap cannot be bridged as soon as possible, it may arouse the suspicion of some interested people. It's annoying, I'm not good at fighting. He is a little distressed. Knowing where the problem is, doesn't mean it can be solved immediately. At this moment, Bai walked towards him and asked with some expectation, "Student Shinji, can I practice gymnastics with you?" Shinji, who was afraid of Lu Chi, cried out secretly in his heart, but shook his head on the surface, "You are too weak." Bai quickly apologized, "Sorry, I took the liberty." Seeing Bai sincerely apologize to himself, Shinji was a little embarrassed. Although he knew that something was wrong with Shiro appearing in Konoha's ninja school, and there must be some kind of conspiracy involved, he had to admit that Shiro was a very considerate person who was very easy to get along with. Evening. Ninja school is over. Shinji walked towards his apartment while digesting what he saw and heard at the ninja school today. Walking to the end of the street, he found that Bai was going the same way as him. After chatting for a while, he was a little surprised. Who lives next door to me? Shiro nodded. Student Shinji, please take care of me. Oh. Shinji nodded. Back home, Shinji threw himself on the bed, letting his thoughts wander. Shiro and Keirin appeared in Konoha's ninja school and became his classmates, which really made him a little uncertain. Is it the butterfly effect? Or parallel time and space? Shaking his head, he withdrew his thoughts one by one, and subconsciously touched his chest. The deep bone-deep knife wound before had completely disappeared under the treatment of medical ninjutsu, but he still remembered the scene before death in the original owner's memory fragments from time to time. This kind of death experience is really uncomfortable. The plane has been invaded. Countdown, 1. Please get ready, we will meet the invasion after 12 o'clock tonight. Shinji stood up suddenly and looked at the wall clock on the wall. At this moment, the time displayed on the wall clock is 8:05 p.m., less than 4 hours away from 12 o'clock. For the new issue, please ask for a monthly ticket and a recommendation ticket for support. Please everyone. End of this chapter. The remnants of the Uchiha are forced to save the ninja world. Chapter 4, Heaven. Chapter 4 Heaven. Come to the window, looking at the Konoha village under the night, Shinji reviewed the layout of Konoha village in his mind again. Regarding the invasion, he has analyzed many possibilities these days, and has also thought about some countermeasures. For example, he has memorized the layout of Konoha village in his mind. He can tell where important institutions such as the Hokage building, Umbu building, and hospitals are with his eyes closed. Once there is an invasion, he can respond immediately. After all, this is Konoha. No matter what kind of intruder it is, Konoha will not sit idly by, so he can use this to deal with the invasion when he is in Konoha. Next. Taking advantage of the 2 days of living alone, he gradually got used to the state of opening the kaleidoscope Sharingan, and carefully explored the skills of using the kaleidoscope Sharingan without excessive consumption of pupil power. With this pair of kaleidoscopes by his side, he still has a bit of confidence. At last. For insurance, he also spent money to buy a lot of ninja tools. 20 shurikens, for kunai forged from fine steel, and 30 detonating charms are all neatly packed in the ninja bag on his waist at this moment. Whether it's useful or not, it's always good to be prepared. Time, little by little. Ka. With a soft sound, the hour hand on the clock finally pointed to 12 o'clock. Shinji held a kunai in his hand, and looked around vigilantly, looking for a possible invasion, but nothing happened. A few minutes later, he frowned slightly. It can't be a prank, right? Before he finished speaking, he disappeared into the room with a whoosh. Boom boom boom. When Shinji came back to his senses again, he found himself in a strange palace, and the roar of explosions could be heard from time to time. He bowed his back and came to the window to look out. In the courtyard of the palace, hundreds of guards with bows and swords were besieging a giant monster with a dark blue body, a bloated body, and arms all over its upper body. Stop it. Protect your highness. Don't let it get close to the main hall. Amidst the cries one after another, the guards continued to attack the monster. Arrows shot out like raindrops, and some arrows were even wrapped with ignited detonating charms behind them. However, these attacks failed to stop the monster in the slightest. The monster was full of arrows, but it didn't care. The limbs that were broken by the detonating talisman recovered quickly at a speed visible to the naked eye. Obviously, ordinary attacks have no effect on it. And the countless arms on the monster's upper body, every time it stretches out, can accurately grab a guard and drag the guard to the front. Then, swallow it in one gulp. Isn't this a hand ghost? Shinji, who was hiding in the side hall on the side of the courtyard, immediately recognized this monster as Demon Slayer, the hand ghost that ate more than a dozen senior brothers and sisters of Tanjiro in the proving ground. It's just that the hand ghost in front of him is obviously much bigger than the one in his impression. Not only is it bloated, but it also has an unbearable stench. The courtyard soon filled with a pungent smell, and there were stumps and broken arms everywhere, like on earth. No. Although he was terrified, Shinji, who was hiding in the dark, still noticed something. He found that as the hand ghosts continued to devour the guards, their body size became larger and larger, and their attack frequency, strength, and even recovery ability also improved significantly. There is no doubt that devouring guards can make it stronger, and this strengthening is very significant. Ghosts in Ghost Slayer can indeed become stronger by eating people, but this kind of strengthening needs to be accumulated over time. Like the hand ghost in front of me, the body size obviously swells after eating people. Shinji wonders if it has something to do with the chakra contained in the guards who are eaten. A ghost with terrifying recovery ability, if he has chakra again. Just thinking about it, Shinji felt a chill and his scalp went numb. In the courtyard. Seems to feel the rapid improvement of his own strength, and the frequency of hand ghosts eating people has also accelerated a lot. It swallowed the guard whole, and let out a disgusting moan. It's really delicious. The people here are so delicious, oh ah. Is this the intruder? Seeing the rapid decrease of guards in the arena, Shinji forced himself to calm down. If the weak point is not targeted, ordinary attacks will have very limited effects on ghosts. Like those fearless guards, no matter how many times they shoot, slash, or blow up the hand ghosts, they can't destroy the hand ghosts, and as long as the hand ghosts swallow them, they can quickly recover their consumption. Fortunately, Shinji knows the weakness of ghosts in Demon Slayer. The biggest weakness is undoubtedly the sun. As long as it is exposed to the sun, under normal circumstances, even the most powerful ghosts will be wiped out. Besides sunlight, another weakness of ghosts is their necks. Using the sun-will knife to cut off the ghost's neck is the most common method used by the ghost-killing team to eliminate ghosts. In addition, ghosts are also afraid of a plant called wisteria. However, Shinji has neither a Japanese sword nor a wisteria right now. Looking at the time again, it's just past 0, and it's still early for sunrise. What to do? Shinji had a headache, and turned his eyes to the courtyard again. Judging from the attire of the guards in the courtyard and the detonating symbols used, this place should still be in the ninja world, so he guessed that it might be the palace of a certain daimyo. This point can also be seen from the fact that the guards are brave enough to fight the hand ghosts. From the analysis of the battle situation, the hand ghost is very strong. It's not that the hand ghost can't fight against it. In fact, the guards have chopped off and blown off the hand ghost's arm more than a dozen times, and once even shattered half of the hand ghost's body. But these injuries, which are fatal to normal creatures, have no effect on opponent ghosts. The hand ghost can rapidly increase its strength by continuously devouring the guards. In such a short time, its size has swelled again, and it looks like a moving mountain of meat from a distance. Why are the people here so fragrant? Ah. Gulu gulu is so sweet. Hand ghosts made chilling chewing sounds while slaughtering. Damn it, what kind of monster is this? Reinforcement, why not come? Don't eat me. Amidst the roar and wailing, the resistance of the guards gradually weakened. Hiss. Watching the hand ghost devour the last guard, Shinji looked dignified. Even if it just moves, the hand ghost can make a rumbling sound, making the ground tremble slightly. And the buildings that stand in front of it along the way are like tofu made of tofu that will shatter when touched. At this time, it seemed to be staring at the main hall not far away. Dragging his bloated body, he moved towards the main hall step by step. Shinji in the side hall was a little lucky, it seems that it hasn't found me yet. Shwa. The moment Shinji relaxed a little, an arm suddenly shot out from the back of the hand ghost, accompanied by a foul-smelling wind, roaring towards him, broke through the wall instantly and grabbed Shinji who was hiding behind. This? Before he could react, Shinji was caught by the hand ghost. Then, grabbing Shinji's arm and quickly retracting it, he pulled Shinji up into the air and brought him in front of the hand ghost. Oh ho ho, I've smelled it a long time ago, you are more fragrant than them, much more fragrant, I can't help but drool when I'm so greedy. Teki stared at Shinji with an idiotic expression on his face, and his mouth was actually drooling. Shinji felt nauseous and wanted to vomit. Suddenly, the hand ghost seemed to sense something, and there was a little more madness on his already deformed face. So you are the light of this world, don't drive me away. Light? Seeing the reaction of the hand ghost, Shinji realizes that his identity seems to be very special. Countless arms fluttered and swayed around, and the demon-like hand ghost became more and more crazy. It grabbed Shinji and raised it above its mouth. As long as I eat you, I can stay here forever. This place belongs to me. Heaven. Heaven. With a light spat, Shinji said coldly, do you have some misunderstanding about the ninja world? This is hell. Before the words fell, Shinji's eyes were scarlet. New issue, please take care of me. End of this chapter. The remnants of the Uchiha are forced to save the ninja world. Chapter 5, I quit. Chapter 5 I quit. Boom. Accompanied by a roar, a yellow phantom was projected from Shinji's body, and the hand ghost grabbed his arm in an instant, and then turned into a huge half-body skeleton phantom made of bones. Among the diffuse smoke and dust, Shinji standing under the huge phantom is like a god. The scarlet pupils in his eyes reflected a kaleidoscope pattern composed of 3 intertwined ink circles, and his whole body was murderous. The hand ghost was shocked. What the are you? Before the hand ghost could finish speaking, Shinji mobilized Susanoo, from top to bottom, and punched the hand ghost hard. Poof! The hand ghost's seemingly solid body was vulnerable to the terrifying force of the Susanoo. With a burst of explosions, it instantly shattered to the ground, with flesh and blood flying everywhere. For a while, the already courtyard became even more messy. However, after just a few breaths, the flesh and blood smashed into the pit started to squirm, then expanded rapidly, and soon returned to its original appearance as a hand ghost. As expected of Light. Hand ghost covered his mouth with his hands and snickered, oh ho ho, you can't kill me, you can't kill me. Cut. Shinji didn't talk nonsense, and once again urged Susanoo to punch hard. Without any accident, the hand ghost was smashed by Shinji again. But this time, Shinji didn't wait for the hand ghost to fully recover, but just as the hand ghost's flesh and blood squirmed, he punched it again. Boom boom boom. Susanoo kept hitting heavily, making the pit on the ground bigger and bigger, and the crack extended tens of meters. The surrounding buildings were affected one after another and collapsed one after another. Even a corner of the main hall farther away collapsed. After a while, Shinji stopped the offensive. Compared to the beginning, the mass of flesh and blood recovered much faster. In the end, the hand ghost recovered, but its size shrunk a lot compared to when it swallowed hundreds of guards just now. Damn it! The feeling of weakness made the hand ghost's face lose the previous madness, replaced by deep fear. It never thought that it would face this kind of monster. Just looking at Shinji's kaleidoscope Sharingan, it couldn't help being terrified. It wanted to escape and continue to eat people to replenish its strength, but the Susanoo standing in front of it blocked all its delusions. Hand trembling, subconsciously took a step back. No, you don't even have a knife, how can I die in your hands? Shinji walked towards the hand ghost slowly. It seems that you still don't understand what this place is, and soon you will miss the sun and the sun will knife. He knows my weakness, I'm going to die. Hand ghost's pupils shrank suddenly, his whole body and mind were occupied by fear, and his will instantly collapsed. Seeing this moment, Shinji did not hesitate, and quickly struck out, urging Susanoo to swing out a punch again, hitting the hand ghost. Boom! The hand ghost's body was smashed to pieces again. But this time, the flesh and blood on the ground did not squirm and gather again, but dissipated into the air like fly ash. Invasion successfully blocked. The crack is closed. Listening to the voice next to his ear, Shinji breathed a sigh of relief, fell to the ground, and the huge Susanoo covering him also dissipated instantly. Why should I, the Uchiha remnant, do things like protecting the ninja world? He already understood a little bit now. The so-called invasion should be the invasion of the ninja world by alien creatures like hand ghosts. And the light in his hand ghost's mouth is mostly responsible for destroying these invading alien creatures and protecting the safety of the ninja plane. Understanding is understanding, but he is very conflicted in his heart. He was thrown here for no reason, and had a big fight with monsters for no reason. If it wasn't for the kaleidoscope Sharingan, he would already be in the belly of the ghost by now. Hey, I admit it this time, don't do it again. I quit. Although he didn't know if the mysterious voice could be heard, Shinji still yelled out loudly. Scan to loot. Analyzing the loot. Trophy-based breathing method. Water breathing. Suddenly, where the hand ghost turned into flying ash, a blurred light group appeared. Hey, there are still loot. Shinji walked up to the light group. Breathing method is a technique used by Ghost Slayer to strengthen the cardiopulmonary function through breathing, thereby greatly increasing the speed and strength of ordinary people, and allowing fragile humans to fight against ghosts. Because it is achieved purely through breathing, there is no blood threshold for learning breathing methods. As long as you are talented and work hard enough, you can more or less get improved from breathing methods. As for the amount of improvement, it varies from person to person. However, this technique that does not involve complicated changes in the nature of chakra is undoubtedly a good thing for the current Shinji, so he reached out and grabbed the light ball. Instantly, memory fragments of learning water breathing were absorbed into his brain. At the same time, he also understood why the trophy for defeating the hand ghost was water breathing. Obviously, this is because the hand ghost has devoured more than a dozen swordsmen who have learned water breathing, and the memory fragments of these swordsmen have been integrated into its flesh and blood. Reward settlement in progress. Rating, E. Get ninja gift, chakra, a small amount. Many light spots suddenly appeared around, and merged into Shinji's body one by one. Ah! This feeling was like throwing him into a hot spring, which was so comfortable that he couldn't help but scream. Gift from the ninja world was stunned for a while, and he thought, there are rewards. The amount of chakra that had just poured into his body was almost equal to his own chakra, that is to say, his chakra had doubled in just a short moment. But recalling the content of the mysterious voice just now, he recalled, hey, don't specially emphasize a small amount. Rewarding at a small amount of chakra, let him directly double the amount of chakra. Doesn't this mean that his own chakra amount is almost equal to a small amount? And he also noticed that he was given an E grade, which is clearly not a good grade. Looking around, he thought, is it because the invading hand ghosts caused too much damage to the ninja world, which affected the rating? Or the invasion took too long, which affected the rating? Click. Suddenly, there was a sound not far away. Are there any survivors? Shinji turned his head abruptly and looked in the direction where the voice came from. I saw a small head protruding from the ruins of the main hall, blinking its big eyes, looking at him in the courtyard. Oops. Realizing that his kaleidoscope Sharingan was exposed, Shinji's heart tightened. If this secret is leaked out, neither Danzo in the village nor Orochimaru outside the village will let him go. Even some villages and organizations temporarily unrelated to him will hunt him down because they covet the kaleidoscope Sharingan. This is very bad. So in order to confirm, he walked over quickly. When he got to the front, he realized that the little gray figure in the ruins had some impression on him. After carefully identifying it, he said to himself, these purple eyes. Are they Ziyuan? Ziyuan asked curiously, big brother with red eyes, do you know me? It turns out that this is the palace of the witches in the country of ghosts. Shinji murmured, but struggled in his heart. Thank you for your votes and rewards, I saw a lot of familiar faces, thank you so much. End of this chapter. The remnants of the Uchiha are forced to save the ninja world. Chapter 6, Mankazatsu Hitomi of Shinji. Chapter 6 Shinji's Kaleidoscope Eye Art. From Cheyenne surprised eyes, Shinji knew that the other party must have witnessed the fierce battle between him and the hand ghost. In other words, his Susanoo has been exposed, and the secret of kaleidoscope Sharingan is hard to hide. Cheyenne didn't notice the entanglement in Shinji's heart at all, she looked Shinji up and down, her eyes were full of admiration. Do you want to silence? Shinji couldn't make up his mind at all. Wow. As if sensing a trace of killing intent from Shinji, the little bell hanging on Cheyenne's chest suddenly burst into dazzling light. This is. Feeling threatened, Shinji took a step back. Others may not know, but he knows the details of witches in the kingdom of ghosts. The little bell on Ziyuan's chest is a very powerful magic weapon. It seems to be protecting Ziyuan, but in fact, its real function is to seal Ziyuan's priestess power, so as to prevent the young Ziyuan from using the priestess power indiscriminately to hurt people around him. To put it bluntly, that thing is a restraint disguised as a body protection magic weapon. If you want to kill Cheyenne, you must first destroy the bell, and once you destroy the bell, you have to face the unsealed ghost country maiden. Shinji gave up the idea of silence. It's true that Ziyuan is a rookie shrine maiden now, but why isn't he a rookie ninja? He is not sure whether his Susanoo can block Cheyenne's sealing technique. You must know that the witches of the country of ghosts have the ability to seal tailed beast-level monsters. But it's obviously not okay to just let it go. So he thought of illusion, fixed his eyes on Ziyuan, activated the kaleidoscope Sharingan, and implanted a psychological suggestion into Ziyuan's heart through the power of his pupils. You haven't seen me. Instantly, Cheyenne's expression froze, and unconsciously followed Shinji and said slowly, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. Did it work? Shinji observed for a while, and then secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Ziyuan is now sealed with the power of a witch, and the time she spends with herself is extremely short. Otherwise, it would be difficult to complete this period of implantation of psychological hints with his half-baked kaleidoscope Sharingan illusion. Even so, he didn't feel very secure. If he meets Ziyuan again in the future, there is still a high chance that Ziyuan will recall this memory. Fortunately, Ziyuan, as a priestess of the ghost country, will not leave the ghost country easily, so the probability of them meeting in the short term is very low. At this time, a fire was reflected in the distant night. It seemed that a large group of people were holding torches and rushing towards the palace in a hurry. Obviously, these are the ghost country guards who came from other places for reinforcements. And when Shinji was worried about how to return to my village, his figure disappeared out of thin air with a swish. Looking at the familiar room, Shinji realized that he was back. At this time, the wall clock on the wall showed that he had left for about 30 minutes. This time happened to be the time when he witnessed the hand ghost slaughtering the guards, and he killed the hand ghost. That is to say, he was instantly teleported to the area where the hand ghosts invaded, that is, the palace of the witches and the kingdom of ghosts, and then teleported back instantly after the end. It is somewhat similar to the flying thunder god art. Ah! There was a sudden stabbing pain in both eyes. Enduring the severe pain, Shinji hastily closed the kaleidoscope Sharingan, and the scarlet eyes quietly returned to black. After a while, the stinging pain in the eyes gradually subsided. Who? He let out a foul breath, and his face was a little ugly. Successfully blocked the invasion, he received a gift from the ninja world. The amount of chakra in his body has indeed increased by nearly double, but chakra is chakra, and the pupil power of kaleidoscope Sharingan is pupil power. Simple to understand. Chakra is synthesized and refined from physical strength and mental strength, and can be recovered through rest. Is renewable. The pupil power of the kaleidoscope Sharingan is a very high-quality escape chakra. Its total amount has been fixed when the kaleidoscope Sharingan is awakened, and it can be used as little as possible. Until it has the ability to convert ordinary chakras into high-quality escaping chakras, the pupil power consumption of kaleidoscope Sharingan cannot be replenished. Opening Susanoo this time consumes too much. If I do it a few more times like this, my kaleidoscope Sharingan will be useless. Before it was a critical moment of life and death, he didn't think too much when he activated Susanoo. The severe pain in his eyes just now made him realize the indisputable fact that kaleidoscopic Sharingan is a consumable. Resting his forehead with his hands, Shinji sat down on the bed. The one who invaded the ninja world this time was an Oni from Oni Slayer, so the probability of it being an Oni next time is very high. Can deal with ghosts, he is not professional. He used the most stupid method to eliminate the hand ghost just now. After smashing the hand ghost with Susanoo for the first time, he confirmed through the detailed insight of the kaleidoscope Sharingan that the recovered hand ghost was smaller than before. So he confirmed that although ghosts can continue to recover, they still need to consume some kind of flesh and blood power. As long as the ghost is dealt multiple devastating blows in a short period of time, and the ghost cannot be replenished with flesh and blood, the ghost will also lose its ability to recover due to excessive consumption. But this method is suitable for bloated hand ghosts, but not necessarily for other ghosts. If next time you encounter an Oni with high agility and strong tactical ability, it will be very difficult for Shinji to repeat this victory. We must find a way to truly restrain ghosts. It is undoubtedly the easiest way to cut the neck with a Japanese knife, but Shinji is not sure if there is a special or for forging a Japanese knife in the ninja world. He had never seen wisteria flowers in Konoha. As for sunlight, Oni obviously don't invade the ninja world during the day. If ghosts are afraid of the sun, will the Amaterasu, known as the flame of the sun, work on ghosts? Shinji suddenly thought of the pupil art of Amaterasu, a kaleidoscope Sharingan. Amaterasu black flame has the characteristic of burning everything and never going out. So even if it can't have a special restraint effect on ghosts like the sun will knife, it can still be attached to the ghost's body, so that the ghost will be wiped out in endless burning. Pity. Shinji's kaleidoscope Sharingan does not have the pupil art of Amaterasu. He scratched his head when he thought of his kaleidoscope writing sharing eye pupil technique. His left and right eyes have the same pupil technique, named Susa-Zun lamp. As the name suggests, this is a pupil technique based on the Susanoo. If you want to activate the Susanoo lamp, you must first activate the Susanoo. Different from common ninjutsu and illusion-type pupil techniques such as Amaterasu and Tsukuyomi, Susa-Zun lamp is a relatively rare functional pupil technique. When Susanoo and Susanoo lamp are turned on at the same time, Shinji's Susanoo phantom face will have a second pair of eye sockets, a pair of empty eye sockets that can accommodate another pair of eyes. Good. The ability of the Susanoo lamp is to make his Susanoo control the second pair of eyes. From a certain point of view, the birth of this pupil technique may be the spiritual portrayal of Sharingan synthesis of the original owner and him, the traveler. In Shinji's opinion, this pupil technique is actually very powerful. It's just that he doesn't have a second pair of eyes to control, so right now his kaleidoscope Sharingan is just a blank slate, and the only pupil technique that can be used is Susanoo. Compared to the kaleidoscopic pupil techniques such as Amaterasu and Tsukuyomi, that can be cast with one eye, the burden on the body and the consumption of pupil power of Susanoo are much greater. If he used Susanoo to fight every game, he wouldn't be able to last a few games at all. Shinji sorted out his thoughts and pondered a solution. There are actually ways. The most simple and direct way is to find a pair of kaleidoscope Sharingan of close relatives, and evolve your own kaleidoscope Sharingan into eternal kaleidoscope Sharingan. No matter how bad it is, I still need to get a second pair of kaleidoscope sharing eyes that can be controlled by the Susa-Zun lamp, and have more pupils that can be used. Following this idea, he calculated how many pairs of kaleidoscopes Sharingan currently have in the ninja world. Not counting mine, there should be 4 pairs of kaleidoscopes in the ninja world. Obito's kaleidoscope, one is on Obito himself, and the other is on Kakashi. Of Shirsui's kaleidoscopes, one was taken away by Danzo, and the other was collected by Itachi. Itachi's kaleidoscope is on himself. These 3 pairs of kaleidoscopes are all held by the strong. With Shinji's current strength, he doesn't even think about it. The only thing that can move your mind is the pair of kaleidoscope writing sharing eyes of the late Uchiha patriarch Uchiha Fugaku. The reason why he can move his mind is mainly because Fuyu never revealed the secret of having a kaleidoscope Sharingan until his death. So although the village confiscated Fuyue's Sharingan, it probably didn't know that it was a pair of kaleidoscopes. In this way, the guard level of those eyes will not be too high. After all, in the morgue that night, Shinji saw with his own eyes the medical team remove the Sharingan from the corpses of the Uchiha people and put them into nutrition jars. Having harvested so many Sharingan at one time, the preciousness of Sharingan will inevitably be weakened. Therefore, among the 4 pairs of kaleidoscopes in the ninja world, Fuyue's pair is the least difficult to obtain, and it is also the pair that Shinji is most likely to succeed. However, we must first find out where the village has sealed the Sharingan. Although it is very urgent, Shinji knows that this matter cannot be rushed and must be considered in the long run, because if one is not careful, it is very likely that the kaleidoscope will not be obtained, and he will also get into it. In addition, improving his body and ninjutsu as soon as possible is also his top priority. Thinking about it, he gradually became sleepy. After the passion of the battle subsided, exhaustion struck. Fanon's new book, Please Support Me. Ask for a monthly ticket, recommend a ticket. End of this chapter. The remnants of the Uchiha are forced to save the ninja world. Chapter 7, I didn't expect it to work either. Chapter 7, I didn't expect it to be successful either. Dong dong. Early in the morning, Shinji was awakened by a knock on the door. Yawning, he came to the door, opened the door and looked. What are you doing? Standing at the door, Bai smiled and said, Student Shinji, you're going to be late. Ah. Turning his head to look at the wall clock on the wall of the room, he realized that it was almost 8 o'clock. So he simply washed up and hurried out the door. When he arrived at the ninja school, he realized that he forgot to prepare lunch again. Seeing this, Bai took out a food box from his bag and handed it to Shinji. Don't worry, I prepared it for you, but I don't know if it suits your taste. Shinji took the food box, opened it and looked at it. There are delicious sushi and meatballs in the food box, as well as fresh fish slices and vegetables. Obviously, Bai prepared it with great care. Thanks. Bai waved his hand. We are classmates, you're welcome. Shinji nodded, accepting Shiro's kindness. Although he knows that Bai is kind by nature, he still feels that Bai is too kind to him, as if he is deliberately getting close to him. The morning theory class ended soon. After eating the bento, Shinji came to the playground like other students. Because it was time for free activities, the playground was very lively with students from all grades. Such as Naruto, who is shorter than him in the first grade, is sitting on a swing in the corner of the playground, unhappy because he can't fit in with other people. In another corner, Ning Ci appeared in front of the wooden stake unmoved, sweating profusely practicing soft fist. There is also Xiao Li who foolishly runs around the playground. Let me find a place to practice too. Making up his mind, Shinji came to a remote grove in the school. After combing through the memory fragments left by the original owner, he decided to start with the big fireball art that the original owner had practiced countless times. Siwei Hai Wuyin. He first refined the chakra, then meticulously completed the seal, and finally aimed at a big tree not far away. Boom! In an instant, a huge fireball spurted out of his mouth, rushed away, smashed the big tree in the distance, and ignited the big tree and the surrounding grass together. Looking at the soaring fire in front of him, Shinji stayed where he was. In his memory, the original owner had practiced this technique countless times, but he had never successfully performed it once. So this time he didn't expect anything, just tried it casually and practiced seals. Unexpectedly, not only did it succeed once, but it was also so powerful that in just a short while, the fire had spread to the surrounding trees, burning a large area. Soon, figures rushed to the grove. These are the ninja school teachers who came in a hurry after seeing the fire and smoke in the forest. Looking at the fire all over the sky, the faces of the teachers changed drastically. Earth escape, earth formation wall. Water escape, water wave. Two of the teachers looked at each other, and then tacitly launched ninjutsu. One used earth escape to block the fire, and the other tried to put out the fire with water escape. After a lot of tossing, the fire was finally extinguished. In the water vapor and smoke, the teachers were all ashamed. Irika came to Shinji and asked, Shinji, did you do it? At this time, it was obvious that he couldn't afford it, so Shinji had no choice but to nod. Irika said sternly, it's too dangerous, how can you perform such advanced fire escape ninjutsu in the woods? I didn't expect it to be successful either. Shinji groaned secretly in his heart. If he knew that there would be such a big commotion, he wouldn't try it in the ninja school. And isn't it the sea-level ninjutsu that was promised, the difficulty of Zongnan? How did it succeed once? What is the difficulty? Mizuki came over with a smile on his face. Irika, don't blame him, after all, it didn't cause too much loss. The other teachers had complicated expressions. Being able to perform such a powerful fire ninjutsu at the age of 8 made them feel that the talent of the Uchiha clan is terror. At this time, the students on the playground were also attracted by the movement here, and surrounded them one after another. Hey, what happened? Is it a fire? The big trees are all scorched. Seeing the grove that had been ravaged by the fire, the students talked a lot. After learning that it was Shinji who caused all this, many people cast surprised eyes. Shikamaru whispered with emotion, as expected of the Uchiha clan. Sakura and Ino stared at each other. Wow, this senior student is so cool. Shaoli looked dull. That's great. Ning Si had a sullen face, eyes full of fear. At the age of 7 or 8, the students of ninja schools have basically not started to learn ninjutsu, and very few can master ninjutsu. So when he saw that Shinji could easily perform the sea-level fire escape ninjutsu that required a Chunin level to master, he felt an inexplicable threat. What's going on? What are you looking at? Behind the crowd, Naruto grumbled and squeezed in, but was pushed out again and again by the crowd. All this commotion made Shinji sigh helplessly. Back to the classroom, Shiro turned around and said to Shinji, "Student Shinji, I didn't expect you to have mastered such a powerful fire ninjutsu." Shinji shook his head. It's just a sea-level ninjutsu. This is not all to maintain the character design of the Uchiha clan. He said it on purpose. He really didn't have much pride in his heart this time. You must know that Itachi just read his father's seal without opening his eyes, and he immediately learned the skill of fireball. Sasuke is worse. But it only took a day to learn. Not only has he awakened the kaleidoscope Sharingan, he also just received a gift from the ninja world last night, and his chakra has doubled, surpassing most of his peers. In this case, mastering a sea-level fire escape ninjutsu, after thinking about it, is indeed reasonable. After all, ninjutsu is a kind of use of chakra. There are enough chakras and they are strong enough. Not to mention the rigid two-handed Madara, even one-handed Madara, or even Muji, can also perform ninjutsu. Thinking of this, Shinji glanced at Shiro. In his impression, I belonged to the kind of genius who had mastered the one-handed Madara at a young age, and even Kakashi was severely surprised. Soon, Shinji found that he still underestimated the impact of this incident. By the time school was over in the evening, the news had spread thoroughly. Many students of ninja school looked at him from sympathy to admiration, especially some female students. All of them were full of stars. Not only the students, but even the teachers of some ninja schools were much more solemn when they met him. There are precedents for this. Uchiha Shisui is farther away, and Uchiha Itachi is nearer. They both made their name in ninja school at a young age. They were promoted quickly after graduation, and their status was far away in a few years. Far surpassed those teachers who had taught them in ninja school. Shinji helplessly, have a headache. The new book has few characters, and students who are raising books, please take the time to vote for support. Let me feel your warmth, thank you. End of this chapter. The remnants of the Uchiha are forced to save the ninja world. Chapter 8, Solicit. Chapter 8, Solicitation. In the ringing of the bell, the morning theory class is over. The students left the classroom playfully one by one. Shinji rejected Shiro's invitation, took a lunch box alone, and got into a deserted grove in the ninja school. Having learned the lesson from yesterday, he decided not to perform ninjutsu easily in the ninja school, but to practice the breathing method, breathing of water, first. Because the practice of breathing method is very hidden. Unless there is Bai Yen watching all the time, otherwise, it will not be found at all. So while eating his bento, he checked the memory fragments of the swordsman who practiced water breathing in his mind. At this moment, a person suddenly came in the forest. Who? Shinji looked over. The man stood in the shadow of the trees, not bad vigilance. Seeing the man's appearance clearly, Shinji's face remained unchanged, but he was secretly surprised. Because the other party is none other than Shimura Danzo, who single-handedly promoted the Uchiha extermination. Danzo stared at Shinji, without hiding the aggression in his eyes. Your talent is good, but you can't take revenge with talent alone. Who are you? Shinji is appropriately hostile. Danzo took a step forward, and exposed his dark face in the sunlight. This old man is the elder advisor in the village, and becoming his subordinate is your only chance to take revenge. Hata wants to use revenge on Itachi to trick me into joining the route. Shinji felt absurd in his heart. This Danzo really doesn't want any face. He obviously pushed the Uchiha extermination with one hand, but now he still has the face to coax the victims to work for him. First use Itachi to destroy the Uchiha clan, and then use himself, the Uchiha remnant, to deal with Itachi. What a beautiful idea. Suppressing the dislike of Danzo in his heart, Shinji said, I don't need other people's help, I will kill that person myself. Those who reject the old man will not end well. Danzo snorted disdainfully, then turned and left. Looking at the leaving Danzo blankly, Shinji thought to himself, it's really disgusting to be targeted by this kind of guy. But he shouldn't dare to do anything to me in the open now. Shinji knows that the relationship between Danzo and Sandai is delicate. From a certain point of view, Danzo is a part of the power structure of the three generations, and it is an important help for the three generations to control my village. So don't talk about Shinji, even Uchiha with Shimizu and Itachi's strength, or even Orochimaru with both strength and status, Hatake Sakumo, etc., can't beat Danzo in the village. Looking back, Shinji continued to eat the bento. Danzo may not be able to do anything to him on the surface, but he can't say it secretly, so it is still necessary to improve his strength as soon as possible. After eating the bento, he calmed down his thoughts and began to try to practice water breathing. Breathing method is a kind of development of body potential. Water breathing is one of the 5 basic breathing methods. Although it is not as powerful as sun breathing and moon breathing, it improves the body significantly. In Ghost Slayer, mortal swordsmen basically rely on these basic breathing methods to fight against infinitely recoverable ghosts. Because there are memory fragments of more than a dozen swordsmen practicing water breathing, Shinji has a natural affinity for water breathing. After simply trying several breathing rhythms against the memory fragments, he gradually got a feeling. Feeling the rhythm of the airflow exhaled from his mouth, he faintly found that his heart and lungs seemed to be echoing a certain rhythm. But it's not the same as normal breathing. In just a moment, he felt that his lungs began to feel stuffy, his heartbeat and breathing became rapid, and the rhythm of that rhythm was instantly destroyed. Stopped breathing, Shinji was secretly happy. According to the memories of those swordsmen, it usually takes a month of penance to barely sense the rhythm of the breathing method. Even the best among them, Sato, took a few days to feel the rhythm. And he got into the rhythm with just one try. Of course. This is mainly because he has obtained the training experience of more than a dozen swordsmen, just like the entry level of water breathing, which has been simulated more than a dozen times in his heart. But mastering the rhythm is only the first step. The key to the breathing method is still the in-depth development of body functions. Skills can only reduce the difficulty of getting started, but cannot save the process of cultivation. If the heart and lungs cannot keep up with the rhythm of the breathing method, just like just now, you will feel chest tightness and unsustainable for just a moment. It seems that in order to master the complete concentration of the elementary level, you still need to practice over time, so that the various organs of the body can keep up with the rhythm of the breathing method. Shinji has a goal. Time flies, and 2 weeks have passed in a blink of an eye. During this period of time, the weird invasion did not happen again, which made Shinji a little relieved, but he did not dare to take it lightly, and still tried his best to improve his strength. After rejecting Danzo's offer last time, he weighed it up and finally accepted Bai's partner training. Because of things like physical arts, it's really impossible without a good partner. Bai is both his classmate and his neighbor, so he will not arouse anyone's suspicion if he is practicing against Bai. Of course, the premise is that the ostentatious incident that almost burned down the ninja school last time can no longer be done. With Bai's help, his short physical skill has improved rapidly. After only 2 weeks of hard training, he has reached the average level of his peers. At least no one will see the flaws. The empathetic Bai, not only did not explore too much why his physical skills foundation is so poor, but also thoughtfully formulated various plans for him to exercise physical skills. For the improvement of physical skills, the foundation is the most important. The stronger the foundation, the higher the upper limit, so Shinji is very modest in this regard, working very hard to consolidate his weak foundation. The other side. After more than 20 days of coma, Sasuke finally woke up in the hospital. At first, he didn't want to believe the fact that the Uchiha clan was exterminated, so he stumbled into the empty Uchiha clan land alone. Then in the drizzle, he walked out in a daze. Why? He walked like a puppet, with a dull expression and aimless. His world collapsed in one night. In that short night, he changed from the son of the patriarch of Konoha's most wealthy family to the helpless orphan he is now. What made him even more unacceptable was that the culprit of all this was actually his closest brother. Such a fact made him unable to accept it. So, before the night of the genocide, he had a lively and cheerful personality, and suddenly he became the gloomy and withdrawn one with a look of lovelessness. Shinji is also secretly watching Sasuke. However, when he discovered that the village did not arrange Sasuke in the apartment building where he was, but let Sasuke live in an apartment not far from the Umbu building, his concern for Sasuke became more hidden. Obvious. Sasuke is still under surveillance by the village. This is actually understandable. Before Uchiha Itachi defected, he warned Sandai and Danzo in person that if any accident happened to Sasuke in the village, he would spread Konoha's top-secret information to other ninja villages. No one in the village would dare to take it lightly for Itachi, who wiped out the Uchiha clan alone, not even the third generation. So whether it is to appease Uchiha Itachi or contain Uchiha Itachi, the village must strengthen the monitoring and protection of Sasuke. Knowing this, Shinji not only didn't go to Sasuke's side. On the contrary, he deliberately pretended to hate Sasuke, and kept a distance from Sasuke to avoid attracting anyone's attention. Keep rolling for support. End of this chapter. The remnants of the Uchiha are forced to save the ninja world. Chapter 9, Chunin Exam. Chapter 9, Chunin Exam. Boom. Amidst the muffled sound of fists and feet intersecting, the two figures retreated separately. This is a remote practice field. The two people in the field are Shinji and Shiro, who are practicing gymnastics. Seeing that his offensive was resolved again, Shinji frowned slightly. After these days of sparring, he can clearly feel that he is improving, but no matter how much he improves, Bai always gives him the illusion that if he puts more effort, he will win. As a result, he was repelled time and time again. Try the breathing method. After making up his mind, Shinji looked at Shiro. Be careful, I will use all my strength this time. Bai nodded cooperatively, his face full of solemnity. All in one. Who? After letting out a breath, Shinji's figure flashed, and he threw a straight fist straight to Shiro's face. Exclamation point. A trace of surprise flashed in the white eyes, as if he didn't expect Shinji's speed to suddenly become so fast. Bang bang bang. In an instant, the two exchanged 4 or 5 punches. Shinji breathed out mist every time he punched, and every move seemed to be stepping on a certain rhythm, and his speed and strength were greatly improved compared to before. This made Bai very uncomfortable, and rarely showed panic. Who? Letting out another breath, Shinji's speed increased again, his figure flickered, he circled behind Bai, and then swept out with a side leg. But at the moment when the side leg swept Shiro, with a sound of a schwa, Shiro jumped up quickly, not only avoiding Shinji's side leg, but also tapped the side leg that Shinji swept out with his toes, using his strength to reflexively retaliate. Shinji hit the side leg. This. Shinji was taken aback, and had no time to change his moves to dodge, so he barely raised his arms to protect his vitals. Boom. Accompanied by a muffled sound, Shinji was repulsed again, and the rhythm of the breathing method was also disrupted. Feeling the slight numbness from his arm, Shinji curled his lips. Bai, the strength of your leg is wrong, are you giving way to me? Bai Qing panted, Student Shinji, parrying your attack is already very difficult, I don't have the energy to let you on purpose. Shinji shook his arm to relieve the pain, you are letting me. Bai did not continue to explain, but walked to the sidelines and handed Shinji a bottle of water. Student Shinji, let's take a break. Shinji took the water and drank it silently. He knew that Bai was keenly aware of the limit of his physical strength, not only secretly reduced the intensity of confrontation, but also actively asked for a rest to take care of his face. After sorting out the fight just now, Shinji confirmed that the breathing method has a significant boost to physical skills. Without using the breathing method, based on his physical skills, he could not pose any threat to Bai at all. Once the breathing method is used, even in a half-baked state that has only been practiced for 2 weeks, it can obviously cause a little trouble for Bai. The use of water breathing is still not proficient, and the rhythm is easily disrupted. Shinji secretly reviewed. Bai on the side drank his saliva, and asked casually, "Student Shinji, can I ask, you are already very good, why are you still practicing so hard?" Shinji slandered in his heart, "I said it was to protect the ninja world, do you believe it? Ghost knows what will invade the ninja world next time, he dare not slack off." Seeing that Shinji was silent, Bai tentatively asked, "Is it because of that person? Why did he do such a thing?" Shinji glanced at Shiro, then looked away, "I don't know either." What Shiro was referring to was, of course, Itachi Uchiha, who slaughtered the entire clan. It is not surprising that he has such doubts. Because many people in the village have the same doubts, everyone does not understand why Uchiha Itachi, the young patriarch, wants to destroy his family with his own hands. But Shinji had a hunch that Shiro cared too much about him and the Uchiha clan, even though Shiro concealed it very well. The next day. What, Chunin exam? Shinji in the classroom was a little surprised. On the podium, Mr. Irika was still talking about the various arrangements of the ninja school during the Chunin exam period. To put it simply, junior students like Shinji will be on vacation. As soon as the Chunin exam is mentioned, Shinji subconsciously thinks of the Chunin exam in Naruto's episode in the original book. But in fact, the Chunin exam is held every 3 years. The scale is also large and small. Like Naruto, the scale was very large, but under normal circumstances, the scale would be smaller. The venue is not necessarily in Konoha village. All villages that have an alliance or cooperative relationship with Konoha are in principle eligible to host the Chunin exam. Great, it's time to take a vacation. I heard that many villages will send people to participate this time. Isn't there a good show to watch? The students all smiled happily, as if the village was about to hold a festival. In fact, the Chunin exam is no different from the festival. In the final, villagers in the village can still buy tickets to watch it. Leaving the ninja school, Shinji and Shiro wandered the streets. Suddenly, there was a noise in the distance. Shinji followed the prestige, and saw a procession coming towards him at the end of the street, with a magnificent carriage in the center of the procession. Bai also looked over, it seems to be the symbol of the Kingdom of Ghosts. Will the witches of the Kingdom of Ghosts also participate in this Songnin exam? Shinji's face froze, the witch of the ghost country. Bai said, well, the person in the carriage is probably the Miko from the Kingdom of Ghosts. Why did she run to Konoha? Could it be that my illusion has been dispelled? Shinji, who was secretly startled, looked in the direction of the Demon Country team, and thought, is this going to the Hokage building? Seeing that Shinji's face was a bit ugly, Bai asked with concern, what's wrong, what's wrong? Shinji shook his head and left the street. Even if he knew that Shien's presence in Konoha was abnormal, he couldn't take any action. This is the central area of Konoha, and it is only a few streets away from the Hokage building. Any action he takes may lead to unpredictable consequences. The only thing he can do now is to pray that Ziyuan hasn't lifted the psychological suggestion he imposed. In anxiety, Shinji spent the day. There was no Anbi who came to control him that day, and there were no rumors about him or Kaleidoscope Sharingan, as if the arrival of the witches in the Kingdom of Ghosts had nothing to do with him. Later on this day, teams from Sand Hidden Village, Kusanagi Village, Yu Hidden Village, Taki Shinobi Village, and Kirigakure Village arrived at Konoha one after another. Hearing the news, Shinji was full of doubts. In my impression, the relationship between Konoha and Kirigakure is very tense, and Kirigakure seems to have never sent anyone to take Konoha's Chunin exam. The number of people sent by other ninja villages was obviously more than usual. It seems that taking the Chunin exam is a fake. It is the purpose of these villages to verify the rumors that the Uchiha clan was exterminated. After thinking about it for a while, he figured out why these ninja villages were so active in sending people to participate in this Chunin exam. You must know that the Uchiha clan is a wealthy family that has been passed down for nearly 1,000 years. It is a ninja clan that has already stood at the top of the ninja world before the establishment of the major ninja villages. So the news of Uchiha being exterminated is a blockbuster to the entire ninja world. In the evening, Shinji did not relax, and continued to pull Shiro to practice gymnastics with himself. During the break, while wiping his sweat with a towel, he asked casually, "Why does the Kingdom of Ghosts send people to take the Zongen exam? They also have a ninja village." Bai shook his head. "I've never heard of a ninja village in the land of ghosts. What is the witch from the Oni country doing in the village?" Bai smiled and said, "I'm not sure, but I heard that the priestess from the Kingdom of Ghosts visited a lot of shops in the village for a day." "Oh." Shinji responded thoughtfully. Rustle. Suddenly, there was a sound from the bushes beside the practice field. Shinji and Shiro looked over. "I saw a figure coming out from the bushes. She is small, wearing a gorgeous dress, her mouth is bulging, as if she is chewing something, and she is holding a bunch of three-color in her hand." Aster. Shinji was shocked and recognized the identity of the other party. This figure that came out of the grass in a panic was not someone else, but the witch of the ghost country he had just talked to Bai. Cheyenne didn't seem to expect that there would be someone in such a remote place. She made a booing gesture at Shinji and Shiro, and then she was about to sneak away with her dress. But after walking a few steps, she suddenly stopped, tilted her head and ran in front of Shinji, staring at Shinji. "You ask for votes. Ask for support." End of this chapter. The remnants of the Uchiha are forced to save the ninja world. Chapter 10, Fireworks Festival. Chapter 10 Firework Festival. Shinji didn't expect to meet Cheyenne again in this way, and his heart raised his throat. Ziyuan tilted her head. "Hey, I really want to meet you, why can't I remember?" Shinji shook his head. "We haven't met before." "Is it?" Ziyuan frowned, recalling seriously. Shinji didn't show it on the surface, but he was a little panicked in his heart. "In the final analysis, I am still a little uncertain about the effect of my illusion." Seeing Cheyenne staring straight at Shinji, Shiro beside him also looked at the two curiously. "Your Highness, where are you?" At this moment, the shouts of the guards came from not far away. "Little devil, get out of the way." Seeing that the guards were about to catch up, Cheyenne didn't care about anything else, and quickly pushed Shinji away in front of him, and ran away in a hurry. Shinji twitched the corners of his mouth, and slandered, "You called me, big brother, before, but now you call me, little devil, this guy." Not long. Several guards of the ghost country, carrying large and small bags, chased after them sweating profusely. After asking Shinji and Shiro where Cheyenne was escaping, they apologized and continued chasing after shouting. Looking at the guards going away, Bai Sure smiled and said, "It turns out that the Miko from the Kingdom of Ghosts just now is so naughty." Shinji secretly breathed a sigh of relief. The episode just now caught him off guard, but it also proved that the psychological hint he implanted in Ziyuan with the kaleidoscope Sharingan is still in effect. Then Cheyenne came to Konoha, probably just to take refuge. After all, the witches in the original time and space were attacked, and the Kingdom of Ghosts also asked Konoha for support at the first time. This hand ghost invasion killed hundreds of Ghost Kingdom guards in one night, and it is reasonable for the Ghost Kingdom to send young witches to Konoha for safety. The plane has been invaded. Countdown, 3. Suddenly, a familiar voice sounded in Shinji's ear without warning. He subconsciously looked at Bai beside him, and found that Bai couldn't hear the voice at all. Seeing Shinji looking at him, Bai asked, "Continue to practice?" "No, let's go back." Shinji shook his head. After returning to the apartment and closing the door, his face quickly darkened. The countdown to this invasion is only 3 days. A kind of uneasiness spread in his heart. The next day. Because teams from other villages participating in the Chunin exam gathered in Konoha, the village became noisy. During the holiday, Shinji did not slack off, and he was still practicing taijutsu in the training ground with Shiro. During the break, Bai smiled and said, "The mother-in-law at the meatball shop downstairs told me that the priestess we saw yesterday, got rid of the guards again this morning, and slipped out of the mission station in the Kingdom of Ghosts alone. Wandering around the village." "Oh." Shinji responded casually. But he made up his mind in his heart, during this period of time, he should hide from Ziyuan, so as not to run into her again. Bai said again, I heard that there may be a fireworks festival at night. Firework festival? It seems to be to welcome the ninjas from other villages who came to take the Chunin exam this time. After a pause, Bai asked, the students in the class organized to eat barbecue and watch fireworks together at night. Shinji-san, are you going? Shinji said casually, I'll forget it. Bai said, then I won't go either. Night. Boom. 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 Shinji, who was leaning against the window, looked at the gorgeous fireworks blooming in the night sky, his face expressionless. If you zoom in, you will find that his eyes are out of focus, obviously not really enjoying the fireworks, but thinking about something. Next door. Bai also stared at the night sky, but his expression was extraordinarily serious, as if he wasn't admiring the fireworks. Suddenly, his eyes focused on an unremarkable firework in the sky, and his expression suddenly became dignified. Then he sighed helplessly, went to the closet, and changed his clothes. In the village. Sasuke was alone, sitting with his legs crossed by a small lake not far from his apartment, not looking up at the night sky, but staring at the gorgeous fireworks reflected on the lake. The mood is completely opposite to the gorgeous fireworks reflected on the lake at the moment. This excitement bored him. At this moment, the fireworks reflected on the lake in his sight suddenly distorted, as if it had turned into the face he hated the most. I am going to kill you. He didn't even think about it, took out kunai and jumped into the lake with a plop, breaking the calm of the lake. In the apartment. It's too risky to break through. Shaking his head, Shinji drove the thought out of his head. No matter how desperately he wants to get Fuyue's kaleidoscope sharing eyes, he can't take the risk of breaking into the Anbi building. This is irrational. However, how to deal with this invasion is indeed a big trouble. I can't always use Susanoo every time, can I? And why is the countdown this time so short? Shinji was secretly distressed. Ka. Suddenly, there was a soft door closing sound from the next door. If it wasn't for the coincidence that the fireworks exploded, he might not have noticed it. It's so late, Bai still wants to go out. Shinji was a little puzzled, but he didn't take it too seriously. After all, it's so lively outside, it's normal to want to go out for a stroll. But soon he frowned. After the faint sound of closing the door, there was no normal footsteps. Shinji restrained his breath, slowly came to the door, leaned against the door and listened for a while, before barely hearing Shiro's light footsteps coming downstairs. Sneaky, what is he doing? After pondering for a while, Shinji decided to follow and have a look. But he obviously overestimated his tracking skills. In a short while, he lost Bai's figure, and only saw Bai disappearing into the busy street from a distance. He must be meeting someone, so be careful, the identity of the other party may be very sensitive. Shinji was thinking about Shiro while shopping. Shiro's appearance in Konoha village, and his faint curiosity about him and the Uchiha clan, have already made him feel strange. Combining with what happened just now, he is almost certain that there must be something wrong with Bai. It's just that he still can't tell who Bai is working for, whether it's a certain big shot in the village, or a spy carefully placed in Konoha by other villages. Passing by a small stall, Shinji stopped suddenly. He saw the dazzling array of masks hanging on the stall, and remembered that when he was dealing with the invasion for the first time, he was accidentally seen by Cheyenne, so he went forward and bought a pair of fox masks similar to those worn by Umbu. Learn from mistakes. The next time he faces an invasion, he will have to disguise his identity. Tie the mask around his waist, and he continued to walk around. Unknowingly, he came to the remote practice field in the woods where he always sparred with Bai. Boom. In the night sky above the head, gorgeous fireworks will still explode from time to time. Hey, the village is very noisy tonight. Everyone is here. Shinji decides to hide for a while and practice water breathing in this training ground for a while. Shwa shwa. Suddenly, there were two breaking wind sounds not far away. Shinji was taken aback, and hit sideways into the bushes. Immediately afterwards, the two figures who fled and chased fell into the practice field. Even though he was wearing a mask, Shinji still recognized that the one running ahead was Shiro who had just sneaked into the night, and the one chasing him was actually an Umbun ninja from the village. The Anbi ninja stared at the masked Shiro and said, "Humph. I was just spying on the kid next door, but I didn't expect to catch you, a big fish. Just catch it, you can't escape." New book issue, please recommend tickets, monthly tickets for support. End of this chapter.